Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second of our doubleheader here on the campus of Mills High School and MCTV Sports. This production. I'm Kenny Milch alongside Bill McCarthy. It's the boys' turn. Mills hosting Aragon, and this is a great battle tonight. We've got a four-way tie for second place in the PAL South, and two of those contenders, Mills and Aragon, are here with us this evening.
Yeah, I'm expecting a good one for the boys varsity here. The girls one turned out to be more interesting, I think, than the Mills team was hoping it would be, but still a 12-point win. I think this one's going to be a little bit more of a battle back and forth throughout the contest.
A closer look at the standings, and it is Burlingame with an undefeated 7-0 record on top of the PAL South Division. And then those four teams that are tied for second, Mills, Sequoia, Hillsdale, and Aragon, all at 5-2. In sixth place on the outside looking in is Menlo Atherton at 4-3. Seventh place, Woodside at 2-5. Tie for eighth place with San Mateo and Carlmont at 1-6, and then Cappuccino at 0-7, bringing up the rear as they are announcing the starting lineups for the Aragon Dons. They'll go with Kono, Philamahala Egan, Alex Manu, the coach's son, Trevor Pagadon, Toby Lieberzel, and Kevin Hahn. That's your starting five for Sam Manu, the head coach in his third year. And here is Rick Hansen's starting five for the Mills Vikings, as announced by the public address announcer, John Horgan. Well done by the Mills Vikings band here on the campus of Mills High School in their brand new gymnasium. Bill, we talked about it earlier in the girls game, but let's mention it again. This place is flat out gorgeous.
It is. It's one of the nicer high school gyms that I've been in a while, and certainly one of the best that I've seen in this part of the county.
The Mills boys comes in with an overall record of 15-4. The Aragon Dons an overall record of 12-7, and once again tied at 5-2 for second place in the PAL South Division. There was some question whether the leading scorer for Mills, Robert Nolan, was going to start this evening or even play. He's not starting, but reports are that he will see some action. He is suited up and on the bench. Set for the tip-off, and it's controlled by the Vikings. And that's Daniel Yu, 6-foot junior guard. Led the Vikings in scoring this past Wednesday in their big win over Hillsdale. He can finish on that drive. Rebound goes to Aragon. Up-tempo team for Sam Manu in his third year with the Aragon Dons, and Mills opens up in that extended 2-3 zone. Baseline shot there by Liebergesell. And rebound to Gibbs.
Well, and he's one of their top scorers on the Aragon team, so they're obviously trying to get him going early.
Aragon starts out man-to-man. Gibbs drives middle, loses his pivot foot and travels.
Yeah, I was wondering if the referees were going to catch that one. He almost got away with it.
Elsewhere tonight, Hillsdale's at San Mateo. Burlingame is at Cappuccino. Woodside at Carlmont. Menlo Atherton is at Sequoia.
Now, I'm noticing here that it's a two-man crew with the referees. Do they go to a three-man crew in the playoffs?
Sometimes, but not yet. Steal, fast break, finish by Wright, slam dunk, Tyler Wright, 6'5" senior, nice pass by Wu, 2-0 Vikings. Our officials tonight, Drew Evangelista and Paul Clay. Here are the Dons. In red with the black numbers. Mills in white with the red numbers, or scarlet and gold. Stepping out of bounds. Turnover goes to Mills. These two faced each other back on January the 10th at Aragon, and the Dons won a one-point squeaker, 57-56. The Vikings want a little bit of revenge this evening. There's Gibbs for three. Got it.
Well, it's kind of nice when you have a big man like that that can stretch the defense, and Aragon playing the man-to-man that they are might bring some of their taller players a little bit out if Jeremy can hit a few more of those.
That Mills zone now so tough, especially with the lead. They really extend it and make things difficult and force you to shoot bombs like that, and if you're not hot, you're going to be in trouble. Liebergesell with the miss there.
Well, Aragon does have some three-point shooters on their team, so we'll see how Mills' zone plays out and whether or not Aragon can convert.
Hahn has made 37. Liebergesell's made 24. Alex Manu's made 25. Another miss, and Aragon's come up empty on 4 straight trips, although they get a steal, a nice pass, and they see the ball go through the basket. Sometimes that's all you need to get things going. Liebergesell with that bucket, 5-2 Vikings. 4:40 left to go here in the first quarter. Just underway. Huge PAL South showdown. Battle for second place, and they're jockeying, Bill, for that PAL tournament bid and going for a home game. Get that number 2 seed. Right now, Burlingame seems to have a good hold on the 1 seed. Count the basket for Adkins. Good strength to muscle that one up.
Well, anytime you play at home, it's an important game. You want to be able to, as they say, hold court on your home court. But in particular, when you're battling with a team that has the same record or is one game behind you, and you want to hold them off.
And both these teams are also in the CCS Division III. So there's a whole lot on the line this evening. Liebergesell thinks about it, but doesn't do it. There's the coach's son, number 0. Alex Manu, nice pass inside, a block shot by Wright.
And that's where the zone can be so effective, when you get that help side defense. A lot of times when you're playing man-to-man, it gets stretched out, and you don't always get the help side as quickly as you need to.
Gibbs looks inside. Nice bucket there. Marquez Burra with that basket for Mills. And timeout Aragon, trailing by 10-2. Mills has put it on him early and quick.
Well, it was a nice entry pass there too from Jeremy Gibbs. He put it in the right location for him to be able to turn towards the hoop and make the move to get the basket. And that's a skill that goes underappreciated, is when you're making those passes, you want to hit your receiver where he can do something with the ball. And a lot of times you have to give it just a little bit away from obviously where the defense is. And you got to fit them in there sometimes, especially when you're going down low.
Nolan, we mentioned the leading scorer, averaging close to 15 points a game. Should be seeing some action off the bench. Wright with that slam dunk, he averages 10.5. Adkins averages 5.6. Burra, who made that last interior bucket, is averaging close to 5 points a game. So Aragon out of the timeout, trying to figure out this Mills zone. They did it at Aragon to that tune of that 1-point victory, but early on here in about the first 4.5 minutes, it's been a struggle. In fact, their one bucket was not out of their half-court offense. It was off a turnover and a nice interior pass as things were a little bit mixed up.
Well, it's very frustrating as a coach to call a timeout with an offensive possession and then have a turnover right after it.
And Daniel Yu turned the ball over there. Back the other way comes Aragon. Lieber Gazelle is stripped from behind. Here comes Adkins, and his shot is blocked. Very nice athletic play there for Aragon's Kevin Hahn.
Some good end-to-end action there.
And Hahn tries a three. Rebound to the Vikings.
I think on that last shot that Manu took, he's trying to get his bearings in this new gym.
Manu, leading scorer and the coach's son. Head coach Sam Manu in his third year for the Dons. Career record of 50 wins and 24. Just picked up his 50th career win this past Wednesday. There's Gibbs from three. Beats the shot clock. Oh, Jeremy.
That was a pretty rotation on that shot.
13-2. The Vikings have stormed out of the gate. There's Manu. Drive and kick. 3-point, and it's good. Pogwadon, 5'9" senior guard with that tray. Much needed for the Dons. Aragon still in man. There's that entry pass you were talking about. Gibbs to Burra. This time Burra can't finish, but the offensive board goes from Wu to Wright. Adkins traveled, no call.
Yeah, I don't know if you recall or not, but
Gibbs tries another three.
Many years ago, Stanford was well known for making that kind of an entry pass. I believe the coach was Davis, Tom Davis. And they would kind of roll that ball around and give it to it about knee height to the post player.
Didn't they call him the doctor?
And probably well deserved.
And I think he ended up going to Iowa later on in his coaching career, if I'm not mistaken.
I know I'm going back a ways there, showing my age.
30 seconds on the game clock, 12 on the shot clock, and it's Wright. Tyler Wright with a three. He's got 5 points on the night. Cross quarter, Lieber Gazelle. Hahn. Swarming defense by Mills. Drive and kick. Here's Manu. And his shot is blocked by Wright. Fast break. Looked
like a lot of contact there, and no call to end the quarter.
What a very impressive quarter for Rick Hansen and his Mills Vikings as they lead it 16-5.
Well, as you mentioned, in that first quarter there, Aragon only scored once in their set offense.
And it was that three-pointer from the corner by Pagaduan. If you'd like to purchase a copy of today's game, you can. Just go to mctv.tv. You'll find our store on the Square Marketplace. In addition to this game, you will see a lot of DVDs available from the many productions of MCTV Sports. So if you enjoy what you are watching and would like to support more MCTV coverage of Mills sports, go pick up a DVD. They are only $20 per copy, and the money goes towards making more programming like this one possible. So far, the story of that first quarter, the Mills Vikings 2-3 zone defense.
Well, I think the key for Mills here is continuing with that zone and not letting Aragon get hot from three-point because they've struggled getting the ball in the paint at all.
According to the Mercury News rankings, Mills in the Bay Area, or the CCS, if you will, ranked 11th, Aragon ranked 15th. That came out yesterday. Here we are on January 31st, 2014, just closing out the month of January. And we head into February, which is always a great time for basketball players, basketball fans. You get in the heat of those league battles, and then, of course, the playoffs. Inside shot attempt, no good. Rebound off to Preston Kim for Mills.
Well, and teams looking for playoff position, winning home games is so important. You know, you want to strive to try to get a home game, you know, at least one, hopefully a couple in the playoffs.
There's that high post to low post entry pass. A lot of substitutions now in the game for Mills. McWhirter's in there along with Hidalgo. And once again, Kim. Adkins, one of the starters, still in the ball game. And also Marquez Burra. Penetration dish. Here's Adkins inside to Hidalgo. Left hand can't finish. Put back also doesn't go. Rebound back the other way. Here comes Lieber Gazelle. Manu. Penetration. Tries to spin it in, but he was too far underneath the basket. And their leading scorer, Manu, is struggling early. Hidalgo. Short. Rebound out of bounds, goes to Aragon.
I think Mills needs to calm down just a little, just a notch on the offensive end. Take advantage of this 11-point lead that they have.
Some substitutes in the game, trying to get their feet wet here. For Aragon, they have 3 of their 5 starters. Manu, Lieber Gazelle, and Hahn. There's Hahn.
And not surprisingly, they're the 3 leading scorers for Aragon.
Pagaduan is back in for Aragon, so now 4 starters in. The only substitute is getting ready to check in now, Keith Shaman. There's a 3-point attempt off the mark. Rebound put back for Philamahala Egan. Deficit cut to 9. 2 minutes have elapsed here in the second quarter. Time flying by here in Mills' new gym. There's Kim. Drive and kick to Burra. Pulls up from 3. Off the mark. Hidalgo. Aaron pass picked up by Burra. Sloppy play.
I'm not sure if that was a pass or if he was shooting and his arm got hit.
McWhirter with the bucket. Mike McWhirter, the 6-foot senior. Back to an 11-point lead. Almost a steal by Hidalgo.
Dangerous pass. It's so tempting as a player to try to make that cross-court pass, but what you need to do is you've got to get some loft on it. You can't just fire it across the middle where the offside defender can just put their hand up.
And that's really what this Mills zone is daring you to do. They're trying to jump the route with the weak side guy, and Hidalgo just missed picking that pass off. Wright and Yu, starters for Mills, come back in. They replace Hidalgo and Burra.
But even getting a deflection, I mean, as a coach, you tell your players on defense, get your hands on the ball. If he doesn't get that deflection, it might be an open shot.
Manu missed both free throws, very uncharacteristic of him. Inside, shot blocked by Wright, and he gets it back and finishes.
And surprisingly, he was able to keep control of the ball, besides that power dribble that so many players like to make right in the paint.
Manu, normally a 64% free throw shooter on the season, 43 of 67. That percentage will drop after those two misses. Mills trying to increase their 13-point lead. There's a turnover by Yu.
Well, right now he looks a little bit uncomfortable with that defensive pressure that Manu has given to him. I think they got to get their offense started just a little bit closer to the top of the key. That's a little bit far away.
Timeout Aragon. Earlier tonight on the boys' side in the Frost soft level, Aragon beat Mills 59-49. So the Frost soft Vikings record falls to 6-2, although they're still in second place. The Aragon Dons boys Frost soft record improved to 5-3 with that win. The Frost soft girls from Mills improved their record in the PAL South to 8-0. They beat Aragon 36-26, and like we mentioned in the girls varsity game, Mills beat Aragon 46-38, improving to 8-0 in the PAL South, 14-7 overall. March and Suey led the way for the Vikings with 10 points each.
Well, I noticed as you were discussing that Lindsay Huffman from the last game, a member of the Mills girls varsity team, celebrating a victory by doing double duty as a cheerleader across the way.
It's a family affair here on quad night. Right now, Aragon has not been let into the family circle.
Now still only 2 scores out of their set offense.
Manu has been held scoreless. That's him, number 0, with the ball into the corner. Shot attempt there by Philip Mahala. Rebound to the Vikes. McWhirter. Rebound goes to Mills.
Yeah, Aragon just looks like they're not quite sure how they want to attack that zone.
They were trying a lot of penetration dishes or drive and kicks, if you will. That was unsuccessful. They're settling for a lot of three-point attempts. They've been getting a couple open looks in the corner, and that may be one area they want to exploit. But they definitely are having trouble with this extended 2-3 zone employed by Mills. Conversely, Aragon stays in their man. That's Adkins muscling it up inside. He draws the foul. He'll head to the line.
Well, despite the good pressure that Aragon's putting on in their man-to-man, Mills has been able to get some scores. I mean, up by 13 here. And doing this without their leading scorer.
Adkins on the season, 17 of 36, 47%. Misses that one.
Kenny, what's the story with free throw shooting these days?
It's not worked on enough on their own. I think a lot of players get caught up in the fancy hype of the crossover dribble and the three-point shot, and somewhere along the line, fundamentals are pushed out the door.
Well, you just see it at all levels now that free throw shooting is really, it used to be a pretty sure thing, sending a kid, especially a varsity level player, sending them to the free throw line, and now, who knows? I mean, you're seeing a lot of 50, 60, 70% free throws. 70's good nowadays.
You are spot on right there. Samage with that last inside shot. Got a great look, and it's off the back iron. Aragon, even when they've had some open looks, have been unsuccessful. Adkins, drive and kick. Inside floater. Nicely done.
Nice penetration, nice shot. The thing about the free throw shooting is there's a psychological advantage to it, especially late in the game. If you're leading and can hit those free throws, it just takes the wind out of the sails of the team playing defense. And when you miss them, it kind of brings a little bit out of your team.
This is the lowest output for Aragon this season. They have now played 13 and a half minutes, and they've scored just 7 points.
And they may not even, they do just get a shot off.
And it's not close. Back the other way comes Hugh. Right. 3-point attempt there. Got it. Corey Matsuno. 26-7. Mills has opened up a 19-point lead.
Well, there's going to be a serious chalkboard session in the locker room at halftime for Aragon.
And the turnover. Another timeout for Sam Manu. And he may not wait for that chalkboard session. Before the game, I talked to Coach Hansen, and we asked him about this Aragon team, and he said, quote, Aragon is a high-tempo and fast-paced team that is capable of scoring points in bunches. They have 4 proven three-point shooting threats. They have multiple players that can drive as well as shoot effectively. Coach Hansen went on to say, quote, our keys to winning this game will be limiting transition and three-point baskets for Aragon. We need to be efficient on offense by scoring inside and out rebounding Aragon on both ends of the floor, end quote.
Well, so far I'd say that game plan is working out. They put 26 on the board. One way to stop a transition team is to score when you have the ball.
Coach Hansen is in his 11th year with Mills. He has a career record with the Vikings of 174 wins to 122 defeats. The last 11 years in the PAL division, 70-47 record.
Well, much like Coach Matsu with the girls, he makes the most out of the talent that he gets here.
And it looks like Aragon has switched to zone.
Interesting change in strategy there.
Matsuno for 3. Got it.
And on that particular play, switching to the zone didn't pay off for him.
A 22-point bulge and building. Make it a 24-point lead. 1 minute left to go until intermission, which can't come fast enough for Aragon.
Wow, what was shaping up to be a real battle so far has not developed that way.
Still just 7 points scored. There's a turnover by Manu. Steal by Adkins. Him and you playing patty cake keep away. Wright cleans up.
Again, too bad. It was another very nice entry pass, or inside pass rather, from Adkins. Too bad wasn't able to convert on that one.
Coach Hansen has won 2 co-championships at Mills and had a tri-championship, so he's won a share of 3 different titles with Mills. 11 years with the Vikings, and actually before that he spent 3 years with Aragon, who they're facing tonight. His record there from 99 to 01 was 24-47. So in his 14-year career Coach Hansen, 198 victories, 169 defeats. He needs just 2 more wins to reach the 200-win plateau. And if he keeps up this pace, he'll get one of them tonight.
Well, I was just going to say that he'll get one game. The way it looks, he'll get one game closer, but there's still a lot of basketball left.
3-point attempt by Lieber Gazelle, and they cannot throw anything in. It's just miss after miss after miss. And we've reached halftime. 33-7. The Vikings with a dominating performance here in their brand new gymnasium in front of MCTV Sports and a big crowd here in Millbrae.
Well, that was an impressive halftime of work for the Mills Vikings, and I think a key for Aragon is what kind of attitude they bring to the floor to start the second half. The way they walked off the court, I saw a lot of slumped shoulders, a lot of surprised looks on their faces.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the viewers of MCTV Sports for tuning in this winter season. It's been great. We've covered boys soccer, girls and boys basketball, wrestling, and next week we'll be back on the lower field during the Lady Vikings soccer matches. We've done more sports than ever before in our history, and we aren't done yet. Be sure to tune in this spring when MCTV Sports brings you more Mills sports, including a few games out on the diamond with softball and baseball coverage. And with the help of the Mills High School Advanced Art of Video class, we'll be bringing you something we have never done before in MCTV history: live sports. Keep tuned to MCTV for more information. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with the second half here with the Mills Vikings on top 33-7 on MCTV. Welcome back to our MCTV Sports production of this doubleheader on quad night here on the campus of Mills High School in Millbrae. It's the host Vikings entertaining the Aragon Dons, and Aragon has not been entertained. They trail here 33-7 in the first half. Some stats for you. First, for the visiting Dons, they were led in scoring by Pagaduan with 3, and with 2 points each, Philamahala Egan and Hahn. For the Vikings, Tyler Wright had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Matsuno and Gibbs scored 6 points each. Adkins was active at 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Yu also had 4 points and 2 assists to go along with it. And Burra and McWhirter had 2 points each. One of the big stories, turnovers, Aragon 7 and Mills only 4, but the biggest story, in addition to the zone defense employed by Mills, was the rebounding score. Mills had 17 boards to Aragon 6. I'm Kenny Mills with Bill McCarthy, and Bill, rebounding and defense really has told the story for Rick Hansen and his Vikings.
Well, if you want to be a successful team, you know, shooting, you can have off shooting nights, but rebounding and defense, if you can do that every night, you're going to be a competitive team. And they've made it really difficult for Aragon to get in any sense of an offense. They've shut down 2 of their 3 leading scorers and essentially shut down the third one as well, who only came up with 2 points in that half. So we'll see how Mills can continue to contain Aragon and whether or not Aragon can turn the tables a little bit. But speaking of turning the tables, Kenny, what would you tell your team down 26 points on an away game?
Well, I would try to put on some type of a full court press, some type of trapping defenses in the half court set. They opened up Aragon in man and played most of it for the first half. They tried a little bit of a zone there towards the end of the second quarter and allowed another 3. So I'm thinking some type of a trapping defense, especially after you score, but that hasn't come easy for Aragon. They've only scored 7 points, so they may have to try to employ some type of trap to spark things without scoring first. There's Burra inside. Adkins picks up his 5th rebound, kicks it out to Gibbs.
Well, based on this first possession of Mills, Aragon is not trying to trap. They're staying in their man-to-man. If anything, the pressure has backed off just a little bit. And Mills got an offensive rebound to continue this possession. Now, one of the things I learned years ago from a very good high school basketball coach that I work with, Don Lippy, who's currently at St. Joseph's in Alameda, when you're down like this, what you want to tell the kids, number one, don't worry about the scoreboard, but take it a basket at a time. Just try to outscore them a basket at a time, and that way you're not thinking 26 points, you're just trying to concentrate on getting that next basket.
Well, here's their opportunity to get that next basket. It's a 3-point, it's a good look, and it's knocked down right there by Pagaduan, and he's really been the only offensive threat for the Aragon Dons. He now has 6 on 2 3-pointers.
And of course, there's your man full court press that you talked about. But if you're going to do that, you've got to stop the other team from getting a basket like that.
Tyler Wright with a spinning shot. He's now got 11. He leads all scorers. Turnover goes to Mills. According to Max Preps, Mills comes in ranked number 4 in the Central Coast section for Division III, which really could get them a high seed. Number 3 is Burlingame, steal by Aragon. Foul by Adkins. Reardon from the WCAL is ranked 2nd, and Sacred Heart Cathedral, also of the WCAL, is ranked 1st. So a banner year, and even Aragon's ranked 6th, so we got 3 PAL South teams in the top 6 for the CCS Division III. That says volumes of the talent base that we have here atop the PAL. Well, steal by Mills.
The thing about once you get into CCS, there's always those WCAL teams that are lurking, both on the boys' side and the girls' side. They play in such a tough league, and they get that kind of talent I was talking about, that kind of Division I talent. As a matter of fact, last year, Archbishop Mitty, with Aaron Gordon, who's now starring at the University of Arizona, and there's talk that he may be a one-and-done kind of player, and that's what the private schools are able to draw, is to get those kinds of, that level of talent.
And they play a lot of times at a different level than what is played here at the PAL division. That's right at the free throw line, missing the first. It's kind of like how Mills has been at another level tonight in comparison with Aragon.
Well, I have to say, I have a lot of experience watching WCAL games over the years. The way Mills is playing in this half, and so far right now, they could compete with many of the teams in that league.
Wright makes 1 of 2. It's a 26-point lead for the Vikings, same as we had at halftime. Aragon has been held to 10 points in nearly 19 minutes of play. There's Manu, has been held scoreless. He's their top scorer. Offensive rebound, Lieber Gazelle with the reverse, can't get it to roll, and even the and one opportunity doesn't drop. Going to the free throw line, Philip Mahala Egan.
And we're 3 minutes into this quarter already, and Mills is maintaining that 26-point margin.
Interesting how the 6-man club for Mills is under the opposite basket for the first half, and they all move over to the bleachers and they harass the Aragon free throw shooters, and boy, that makes things difficult as if they weren't already.
Well, they're having a rough night shooting, whether there's fans here or not. That will make it a little bit more challenging for them.
Philip Mahala Egan made 1 of 2. I'm sorry, Bill.
But again, if you want to be a playoff type of team, and certainly that's Aragon's aspirations, you can't factor in the crowd. You've got to not pay attention to that.
Wright is having himself quite a night. He's got 14 points to lead all scorers. And he has scored all 5 of Mills' points here in the third quarter. Vikings now up 27, their biggest lead of the game. Still in that 2-3 zone.
Yeah, and one of the, very nice pass there.
Beautiful pass from Manu to Lieber Gazelle.
I was about to say, one of the things I've noticed is Manu, their leading scorer, and one of their three-point threats has been setting up on the left side of the defense, which is where Marquise Atkins is playing for Mills. And even if he gets a little bit of space, he's getting a hand up in his face.
One good turn deserves another. We saw a great pass for Aragon on that end, but right there was you with a wonderful pass underneath to Burra for a bucket for the Vikings. Burra now has 4. Adkins picks up the foul, and that'll send Pagadian to the line.
I'm sure the way this game has been going, Coach Hansen, besides being very satisfied with what his team has been able to do, but also giving some rest to his leading scorer, not having to be on the court yet.
Correct. Robert Noland, who's been out now for the last 10 days after spraining his ankle. Pagadian makes them both. He's now got 8. The lead is 15. Check that, 25. It was exactly 10 days ago during the game at Woodside when Nolan sprained his ankle and hasn't played or practiced since. Coach Hansen told me earlier today that he is questionable for tonight, has not seen any action, and with this lead, like you said, Bill, no reason really to put him in. Get him some more rest, and you may have to play him next Wednesday, but if you don't play him tonight, you got him, 4.5, 5 more days. There's Wright. Fall away, banker, everything's going for him, Bill.
Trying to say everything's going right.
He's got 16.
I couldn't pass that one up.
I like it.
And there he goes, he gets a rebound.
He had 5 of those in the first half. Good speed by Burra and a finish. Burra's now got 6. Leads at 29, the biggest of the night. 3-point attempt, no good by Pagadian. Outlet to Burra. Burra, finish again. The lead is 31, Bill.
Well, this is the last thing that Coach Manu would want to see happen. They just, to have the team come out and increase what is already a large deficit.
There's Manu pulling up from deep. Can't find the net. Right to you, lob, just a little bit too low. McWhirter, he's got 4. Everyone getting in the act. Back the other way, bucket there for Philamahala Egan.
Well, it's a lot of fun to sit on that sideline as a coach when everything seems to be working for your team, especially when you're facing, a good competition like this Aragon team is. It's just not a night for them right now.
There's that post entry pass, McWhirter. And the glass is unkind. Pagadian. Lieber Gazelle fouled on the rebound as he was falling backwards. Mills really having a stellar year. 15-4 coming in, 5-2 in the PAL South. They had just lost that 1-point defeat at Aragon as Lieber Gazelle makes his free throw in league, and their other defeat was by just 6 to Burlingame, and Burlingame's unbeaten.
Well, they're making up for that 1-point loss at this point.
Lieber Gazelle makes them both, and now he's got 4 points. Timeout, Aragon. Let's talk a little bit about the preseason for Mills. They opened up with a victory. Speaking of WCAL, they beat Bellarmine by 5 in the Cupertino tournament, but then they lost to Independence by 14. The third place game, they beat Homestead by 6. Then they went to the Lynbrook tournament where they won the championship. They beat Monte Vista, they beat Harker, and they beat Prospect. Then a single game hosting Mills. They they hosted Lowell. They won that by 17. And then every year they go to the Marin Catholic tournament after Christmas. And in that one, they started out with a loss to Glendora by just a point, but then bounced back and they beat Huntington Park by 14. They beat Terra Linda by 3. And then they beat Casa Grande by 23, so they ended up going 3-1 at the Marin Catholic tournament, which has really high quality teams.
Yeah, that's one of the best preseason tournaments in the Bay Area.
And then they had one more single preseason game. They beat Cupertino 54-27. That's how they got to their 15-4 overall mark. That's Matsuno to Hidalgo.
Well, what I've seen with this team, this Mills team, in comparison to previous teams, he's going a little bit deeper in his bench. He's got a good 8, 9, possibly 10-man rotation, and the longer the season goes on, it's nice to know you can rely on those guys coming off the bench and producing.
Kim can't finish but gets his own rebound. There's actually only one starter in the game, and that's Adkins with the ball up top. In fact, Adkins is the only one who's played the whole game for Mills. Matsuno with the baseline miss. Rebound Lieber. Gazelle floats in like a gazelle but can't finish.
And I think that shot kind of epitomizes the night that Aragon's having. Very nice move. Certainly he makes that probably 29 times out of 30.
Boy, Manu really is athletic. He took off from outside the three-point line in 2 steps, just flew in there and went for a double pump spinner. It didn't go, but you could see how he's one of their top scorers, but he's really been held in check tonight as Philamahala Egan makes the free throw.
And what I notice right now is body language is speaking volumes right now. And you can see it in the Aragon players. They're frustrated. They're obviously disappointed. Even looking down on the bench, they're not quite as into it as they were when the game started.
And they trail by 28. There's McWhirter going in for an easy uncontested layup. McWhirter's now got 6 off the bench.
And that's not to say Aragon's not still playing hard. You can just sort of see their shoulders slumped a little bit. This was not the way they wanted the third quarter to go. They're down 26 to start it. They're down 30. And I don't see any let up on Mills.
And they're still in that 2-3 zone. 5 seconds left now in the quarter. Pagaduan. Rebound. Philamahala Egan doesn't go. That's the end of the third. 50-20. Vikings up by 30. If you missed any part of tonight's game, don't you worry. We'll be replaying it again on MCTV. And you can also find many of these programs on demand on our brand new website. That's right. Just go to mctv.tv and check out our schedule and our video on demand pages. And if you like what you see, leave us a comment or send us a tweet. We are on Twitter at MCTV_Millbrae. That, once again, MCTV_Millbrae. We love getting feedback, and we'd especially like to know what other programs you would like to see on MCTV. Getting close to PAL tournament time, although there after tonight will still be 4 more league games, but you start thinking about the county tournament, which is one of the greatest postseason tournaments in Northern California, if not the entire state. It's really a well-run tournament by Commissioner Terry Stogner, but nonetheless, at this point, Burlingame is on their way to a South Division championship. They'll be the #1 seed. They'll likely host either like an El Camino or maybe a Westmore. Mills, with this win, I think is on track to finish second, which means they'll get a home game. Of course, that'll be on February the 19th. That's a Wednesday night. They could face somebody like a South City from the north. I think Hillsdale may end up getting fourth, and with this tough loss, Aragon could end up being the odd team out, and Sequoia, who's been on fire, could end up getting the third seed. They could end up traveling to somewhere like Terra Nova. Sure, a lot of things still could happen, but as Libra Gazelle hits the jumper, at this point, the South is shaping up to go Burlingame, Mills, Sequoia, and possibly a Hillsdale.
Well, if that scenario plays out, particularly for Sequoia, that'd be a tough road trip, having to go all the way up over the hills and into Pacifica and face a very well-coached Terra Nova squad.
I think the toughest trip would be for like a Hillsdale having to go down to the coast as well and play at Half Moon Bay, who is really, really a sharp, well-coached team. Trailing by 28. Aragon. Speaking of the odd man out, that was a tough scenario for Mills last year as Wright attempts a three-pointer. Rebound Burra. Mills ended up 7-5 in the South Division in a three-way tie for third, but after all the tiebreakers went through, as Burra hits a nice elbow jumper, he's now got 10 points. He's in double figures.
He's had a very good night.
Mills was the odd man out and did not make the county tournament as Hahn hits a three-pointer. He's now got 5.
Well, Aragon is sticking in there with their full court press. It's unlikely that they could close the gap enough to make this competitive, but you want your kids to play hard from start to finish.
Nice pump fake and shot off the bench in their first action. Number 30, Miguel Madrigal. And he gets into the box score. The three-pointer, no good by Hahn. Loose ball, diving all over the place. Getting a little bit edgy is Pagaduan of Aragon.
Well, that's one of the questions a coach faces on when you're losing by this many is at what point do you let other players get some action?
And there's 6 minutes left to go in this one. They're down 29. Manu, Pagaduan, Hahn, Philamahala Egan, and Lieber Gazelle are all still in there.
Of course, Mills has 4 of their starters still in the game as well.
Philamahala Egan with that bucket has 8. Pagaduan also has 8 to lead Aragon.
I think sometimes as a coach you kind of look down the other end and see if, you know, when you're up by this many, you kind of wait. Is he going to start putting some of his other players in, and then I'll do that. I'm not sure what lead is really totally safe for any coach.
Loose ball goes Mills' way, and that man Adkins.
I know when I coached, 20 points was kind of the comfort zone.
Burra with the rebound putback. He's now got 12. Madrigal inside.
He needed to go up a little stronger with that one. He tried the finger roll and probably could have used that left hand that the girls' squad is so good with.
Rebound, Tyler Wright.
I've been really impressed with him with how he's been controlling the boards on the defensive end.
He leads all scorers with 16. That's him in the block. Madrigal, three-pointer.
Oh,
He's got 5.
That explains the previous miss. He's a three-point bomber.
Pagaduan gets fouled heading to the basket, and I think the time has now come. Less than 4 minutes for both coaches to start clearing the benches.
It certainly looks that way. A lot of people at the scorer's table.
Pagedwan misses the free throw. We asked Coach Hansen about this year's team. He said the season has gone very well so far. We've put up a 15-4 record. We won the Lindbrook Tournament Championship. We are consolation champs in the competitive Bombar Classic at Marin Catholic. They've got quality wins over Bellarmine, Casa Grande. He said, quote, "This is a very hard-working and unselfish team that is still improving," end quote.
Well, and he does have, he's not loaded with seniors that are getting significant playing time. So these are players that are still developing.
That's Matsuno for Mills. Out of bounds goes to Aragon. We mentioned how Mills did not qualify for the county tournament last year, so they had to wait 11 days till they played in the CCS, and in the first round, or check that, the second round, they really worked Aptos 70-49. Then Burlingame they had to play in the quarterfinals, and they lost by 21 to the Panthers. Nice lean-in shot there by William Maishira off the bench for Aragon, and it's a 29-point deficit with 3 minutes left to go.
Well, Burlingame over the past several years has been the standard bearer on the boys' side. They've had very, very competitive teams, some very, very good players go through there.
And they won their first CCS championship last year under their new coach, Pete Haramis, who used to coach at Cappuccino and just replaced Jeff Dowd. And Haramis is back now, year number 2, and he's doing it again with that transfer from Reardon. Ferrari, another bucket there off the bench for Miyahira. And Ferrari started out at Burlingame, then went to Reardon for a year, and now is back with the Panthers, and he's having a great year. Haramis, the coach, having a great year. Burlingame, they have not lost a step.
Well, and you say Pete Haramis, a new coach, which sounds kind of funny because he's certainly not new to coaching. A longtime Cappuccino head coach, ran a good program there as well. And, you know, again, we talked about it in pregame. When coaching, you know, for many coaches, it gets in your blood, and it's just something you want to keep doing.
Coach Hansen's got a great thing going here at Mills. There's a three-point attempt from the corner. No good. That was from Kevin Law. Some rebound attempts. And here comes Aragon. Down 27. 2 years ago, Hansen went 18-10 overall with the Vikings. They finished third in the PAL Bay Division at 7-3. 2011, the Vikings went 16-9, 7-3 in the Ocean, and that was their tri-championship they shared with Carlmont and Jefferson. 2010, also a co-championship shared with Carlmont. They went 8-2 in the Bay, 21-8 overall for Coach Hansen and the Vikings.
And I believe that was the year they did fairly well in CCS. I remember seeing them play against Sacred Heart Cathedral. The game was actually played at St. Ignatius, and they played an excellent game and was right there with them, and in some ways had their opportunities to win that game. So they went toe-to-toe with one of the better teams in the WCAL that year.
You are absolutely correct. Hidalgo with the left-hander can't finish. He's battling for the rebound. That's 2010 we're talking about. That was the year the Giants won the World Series. What a great year that was for Millbrae and Mills. And there's Madrigal. It's been a great night for him off the bench. He's got 7 points. There's a three-pointer made there by Paul Sue. Paul Sue forgot his uniform earlier and then had it delivered late, and he gets into the scoring column with that bucket. Here's Hidalgo with the rebound. Left hand, and it rolls in.
Nice shot by Connor Hidalgo.
First points for Hidalgo. 30 seconds now left in the game.
You know, oftentimes when you're doing a game like this, whether you're coaching or broadcasting like this, you know, an almost 28-point difference here. A lot of times it's not that entertaining. But to me, it's been very entertaining to watch this Mills team and the way they've executed. And I'll give Aragon credit. It was certainly not their night offensively, but they've played tough. They continued to play hard, and they deserve some recognition for that. But Mills is positioning themselves very well in league play with this win tonight.
Coach Hansen improves his Mills Vikings overall record to 16-4. They go to 6-2 in the PAL South Division, holding on to second place. Final score 63-35. He grew up in San Bruno and Burlingame. He went to Sarah and BIS Intermediate School, but he's getting it done here in Millbrae. I just wanted to mention, you talked about that 2010 year, one of the best years. We have to mention a little bit more about that before we wrap things up. They beat Reardon. They finally beat Burlingame right here at home, and MCTV was there when Mills won that game. In the PAL Tournament Championship, Burlingame did get them back, but in the CCS quarterfinal, Mills beat SI, like you mentioned, 58-57, a huge victory over another WCAL school, and then they lost that heartbreaker to Sacred Heart Cathedral, 53-49 in the semifinals. So once again, that was a wonderful year in 2010 for Rick Hansen and the Mills Vikings, and they continue this fine year. They have a great opportunity now to make it to the county tournament. They're headed for a possible home game. They could be headed for a wonderful seed in the Central Coast Section playoffs with another home game. The future looks very bright, and that was without their leading scorer, Robert Nolan, tonight, Bill.
And they put 67 points on the board, 68 points, is that what it was? 63. Well, as a coach, what more can you ask for? I mean, players that needed to contribute because of their leading scorer being out, did so. That zone totally confused Aragon. They just simply weren't able to get anything going tonight.
With the loss, Aragon drops their overall record to 12-8, and they fall to 5-3 in the PAL South Division. Well, we'd like to thank our wonderful MCTV crew, our producer and director, Andy Pittman, technical director, Jeremy Truong, on graphics, Justin Huey, our camera operators, Melissa Sabato, Andy Chan, Vicky Wu, Jeff McGinnis, on the audio, Randy Sahai. The statisticians, we want to thank Nick Broqua and Harrison Nolan. And our engineer and assistant director, of course, the one and only Randy Sahai. For everybody here at MCTV Sports, along with my color commentator, Bill McCarthy, we remind you once again the final score. The Mills Vikings boys defeat Aragon 63-35. That's it. We'll see you next time on MCTV. Good night, everybody.